Happy December 1st to everyone who's watching this on the day it comes out. I've got my Christmas jumper on. I'm super ready for the festive season, but I also kind of get a little bit stressed towards the end of the year and we approach a holiday that's so focused on consumption and buying things for people. I always feel a lot of pressure to find the absolute perfect gift for someone that's really thoughtful, that will be used by them in their everyday life and will genuinely bring joy rather than just add to the clutter around their home. And I think a lot of us feel the same. So with that in mind, I thought it'd be really useful to go through some thought processes and gift ideas for the people in your life that you do want to buy something for, but you want to make sure it's meaningful and intentional and gives value to their life. We should get into it because I have a lot to get through. First off, real quick, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Katie. I talk about sustainable fashion, overconsumption, personal style, and how all those topics link. If you like that, then subscribe to this channel and follow me on my socials. The waste around Christmas is astronomical. Gifting in itself can be a really tricky thing to navigate, but I think especially around Christmas, pressure is so high and it ends up with just having so much waste, so much things that get immediately re-gifted or thrown out or donated because people were buying things for the sake of giving them rather than as a purchase that the person receiving them really wanted or asked for. And I'm not saying that's anyone's fault. I think obviously the societal pressure of giving around Christmas means that a lot of us would rather give something even if they know it's going to be thrown out. But with so many people rethinking their thoughts on consumerism this year, I mean the underconsumption core trend, I think the time to be intentional with Christmas purchases especially is now. And one of my best tips, one of the ways I'm definitely going to be doing this year, is staying away from novelty items that just feel like stocking fillers or, giving something just to give it, and instead trying to create that same excitement and newness through buying something that is quality and personalized and really says that you know someone. Researching this video, I was looking at a lot of TikTok gift guides, for example, and I saw a lot of things on there that just felt kind of like clutter and like £40 candles. And I mean, if you're a candle person, then I'm sure these would be lovely. But giving that to someone who may or may not like candles feels like you're just adding to the problem of overconsumption that a lot of us are really feeling and evaluating right now. I want to propose more thoughtful, researched gifts that you can give your friends and your family and anyone else that will hopefully provide more of a use case than just something to open on Christmas Day and improve their life in some way. Okay, let's go into the first kind of category. I've grouped these in. These are very loose categories, but something that is a nice version of an item they already use day to day. This is obviously so dependent on the person and how well you know them. But for example, if your friends or your sibling maybe has just moved out or moved to uni, they don't have a nice set of glassware or mugs for their morning coffee or tea, then thrifting these items or buying them from a small business and getting a set of like 3 or 4 so that they have a nice way of starting their morning right with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee would be so lovely, I think. And obviously if you buy them thrifted, this doesn't have to be too expensive. You could also supplement it with a nice bag of coffee beans or some nice packets of tea, hot chocolate if they're a hot chocolate person, or if you're going to do thrifted glassware, then you can maybe buy them a bottle of wine to go with it. Another idea, if they're a jewelry lover, which I feel like a lot of young people are, is to get them something really unique that, reminds them of you. A lot of my favorite jewelry pieces are gifted from family and friends, and I think about them every time I put them on. And that's a really nice way, I think, to start my morning. When I'm putting on my rings, I kind of remember who gave me what, which is just something I like to do. But if there is a jewelry lover in your life, then getting something really unique from a small business or buying something thrifted that's really nice quality. Like if they're a pearl lover, then finding a vintage set of pearls. Oh my goodness, like amazing. The alternative, if you're not 100% sure on what their style might be with jewelry and you don't really want to risk it, is getting them something to hold their jewelry, like a vintage trinket box. This is something you could go to a pottery class and make and personalize for them. It would just be so cool and obviously really customizable if you're making it yourself. One little caveat here, one of the only things I'm gonna recommend that is actually purchasing from a company rather than thrifting or getting vintage or making yourself, is this Lexola travel case for all of your kind of accessories and bits and bobs. I think this is really, really sweet and a really thoughtful gift for a friend that travels quite a bit and has a lot to sort of keep together. I know I would love it if someone gifted me this. It's so thoughtful, and I hate having to have like 1,000 different pouches and boxes when I'm traveling with my jewelry to keep it separate. Obviously, you could also get this vintage. You could also get this from a couple of other brands. It's not a unique idea, but I do think the Lexola one is really cool, and they have some really gorgeous colors. Kind of along the same lines is hair accessories. If you know someone who absolutely loves a scrunchie, then there's some small businesses that do some really unique ones. These ones I found are a little bit expensive, but I think they're really, really sweet. So obviously depends on your budget. This is something you can also thrift as well. But if this is the person you're buying for style, then I think this is a really nice elevated option. Another quite specific idea, like the jet setter one, is if you have a corporate girly or a very organized friend in your life, then I think it can be so sweet to buy them a vintage Filofax to replace the diaries that a lot of us buy that are only a year long, and then you have to, buy a new one and replace that. I think a vintage Filofax instead is such a cool look. Obviously, you can get them personalized if you're buying firsthand, but I think a Filofax is a really cool alternative to this. Obviously, you can take pages out and reuse them. It would mean like you don't have to fill in all of the details that you normally do with the diary, like your contact details again and your address book, if you still do that. I don't know if everyone does that. Don't we all just keep it on our phone now? I don't know. Some people must. Or just like keep all the notes section that you have. But yeah, I think just the look of a really nice quality Filofax thrifted from somewhere is a really thoughtful gift for someone who constantly buys their own diaries. I mentioned in my winter fashion video how important I think a good quality pair of sleepwear pajamas is around Christmas for all of the different activities you do and just the amount of time you spend indoors. And I think getting an elevated option as a gift for a friend is a really, really sweet idea. I've been looking at this brand called Tekla, who does a lot of good quality organic cotton pieces, and I know that I would absolutely love to have anything gifted to me from this brand. They have really nice bath towels for like a cheaper option. They have bathrobes which look so comfy, obviously pajamas. They also have boxers if the person you're buying for wears them or likes to wear them as shorts like I do in the summer. But yeah, the idea of quality sleepwear is something maybe a lot of us wouldn't buy ourselves, like splurge on, but I think would really appreciate if it was being bought for us. And to kind of sum up this whole section, I think is the idea of a care basket filled with things that the person you're gifting uses all of the time and just kind of like refilling their empties in a way. So you could do toiletries, snacks, treats. Can just be a really thoughtful way of taking some of that off their plate in terms of finances and in terms of having to go down and restock that themselves. My mum often does this for our stocking fillers, and I come away from Christmas knowing that I don't have to buy anything for the next like 3 months because I use my products so long, and it's a really nice feeling. And of course, if you're putting this in a really nice thrifted basket or box, then they can then reuse that too around the house. I know I would absolutely love to have a thrifted basket given to me, so that's also like a little nice addition. Like I think paying attention to what it comes in as well can make all the difference. One caveat I do want to mention though, people often wrap these gift baskets in cellophane. Don't do this. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe just getting a nice ribbon that you can tie around the edge of the basket that can then be reused would be really nice. Next kind of category is sort of the same. It's like putting a lot of effort into small items and making them thoughtful and sustainable. A little bit less on the everyday side though, and a little bit more novelty gifty. So for example, photo albums I think are really, really nice to gift. I love the idea of having photo albums out on a coffee table. I think a lot of Gen Z are kind of obsessed with physical media at the moment. So if you are buying something for someone in this age range, I think this could be really lovely to thrift a photo album, find one that's really, really pretty and fits their style, and then print out some pictures of you guys and annotate them and, you know, kind of fill the first few pages of the book and then give them the rest for them to fill up their own stuff. Would just be a really, really lovely idea. I've had this done for me by a couple of friends and I treasure these books so much. Okay, I keep saying about personalization, but embroidering something is just at the front of my mind right now. I've been obsessed with it for a few months now, as people who watch my videos can attest. But I think this is just the perfect way of taking something a little bit ordinary and making it really, really special. So for example, if you're buying them a pair of PJs, then embroidering their initials onto the cuff or like a little heart could be really, really sweet. Alternatively, you could do a tote bag if you know they love tote bags, or like a shopper bag, and have that as something they can use in their everyday life, going down to the shops, just, you know, study, uni, whatever. Or kind of related to this, you could make them a bag charm. Because of how trendy this is right now, there's a lot of workshops, at least here in London, that are showing you how to make a bag charm yourself. And this could be a really, really thoughtful gift for a friend that they can clip onto their handbag and, you know, have with them all the time, especially if it is their style or something that they want to branch into. And I think going down the personalization route is going to be a real crowd pleaser. I've seen trend predictions recently that Gen Z is going to be obsessed with personalization next year, and that's going to be the overarching macro theme for fashion, at least. So you could kind of make your friends ahead of the curve here. Okay, next, a very budget conscious one that completely depends on who you're buying for and what they own is the idea of a mixtape. I know a lot of us no longer own CD players or cassette players, so the digital version of this is making them a playlist of songs that remind you of them. If you want to do it in physical media instead, then go for it. But I think this can be really, really sweet. Alternatively, you could find them a couple of books, either first-hand or second-hand, and tie that up with a really cute ribbon. But if the person you're buying for is a book lover, then the gift I cannot recommend enough is to buy them a personalized library stamp. I got given this by my sister last year. She just bought one from Etsy, and I cannot express enough how much I love it and how much I love getting to stamp a new book every time I get them. So yeah, I think this is a really sweet option, not too expensive. Alternatively, you could make them a bookmark to gift with some books if you'd rather do that, and obviously let your creativity run wild if you want to do photos of you two, if you want to just paint them something. I don't know, like there's so many options if you wanted to do this, and you know, they can use that every time they're reading a book, whether you've bought it for them or not. I kind of wanted to do a little subsection on the HOMEBODY friend because I have so many ideas for things you could buy people who like to be home, like to be cooking, like to be just in their personal space. So first is like a nice thrifted art frame and some downloadable Etsy art. Like this doesn't have to be too expensive. I know when people say about gifting art, our immediate thought is like, this is going to cost hundreds of pounds. But if you're thrifting the frame and then getting like £10, £20 downloadable art, getting that printed, I think you could keep the budget down quite considerably and it would still look like you've spent quite a lot and purchase something that's really thoughtful and probably something that's missing from a lot of young people's homes. Again, if you're buying for sisters, brothers, friends, probably not a lot of them have artwork as the top of their priority, but it would definitely make their new space nicer. So yeah, I think this is something I would absolutely love to be gifted. You can also shop these from small businesses, which is really important to support them. So yeah, that's an option if you don't want to go through the faff of finding a thrifted frame and downloadable art, then just buying something small from a small business would be lovely. If you have someone who is very focused on hosting, then thrifting some brass candles could be gorgeous, and you know, gifting them with candles too would, I'm sure, make their day. Who doesn't like candles on the table when you're setting up for dinner? Along the same lines, getting personalized napkins so that when they're hosting, they can have them on the plate would be really, really lovely. And you can personalize them yourself, or you can buy them personalized or just embroidered with some gorgeous little details. I think it's just such a nice gift that someone probably wouldn't buy themselves, but would definitely use if they're a hoster. Something I would absolutely love, but probably wouldn't buy myself, is a olive oil dispenser in some unique arty form. Would be absolutely gorgeous for my home. I know I'd absolutely love the person that gave me that, but again, wouldn't buy for myself. And last kind of item on this list for someone who likes to cook and bake and host is a lovely little apron that you can again personalize with their initials or with a little emblem or whatever you want to do, and you know, make that really unique, really thoughtful, and maybe gift that with a cookbook or a recipe book with a really gorgeous cover they can put on their shelves would be a really nice touch to this. You could also get them empty cookbooks where they can put their own recipes in like a really aesthetic form. I know I would absolutely love something like this as well, because I often just collect paper recipes, and having somewhere to put those would be a really nice option for me. If you're more of the baker in this situation, then baking someone some really tasty homemade treats is a lovely, lovely gift. And I think also you can elevate this really nicely by finding a gorgeous tin to wrap it in so that they also then have the tin in their home, or again, a basket, or even wrapping it up in like a lovely linen tea towel so that they can then reuse that in their home, and you can even embroider it, would be a really lovely treat and something that doesn't break the budget. If you're looking to spend under £20 on the ingredients, the box, and or the tea towel or whatever, then this is a perfect option. Our last topic is no physical gifts. You know, if someone in your life really is questioning their relationship to consumption and has kind of said like, look, I don't want to be gifted anything this year, or maybe they're going through a no buy era and they've extended that to being gifted things by people, then I think these alternatives are really, really nice and still heartfelt. You still feel like you're giving them something. So one of the nicest options, I think, for someone who has everything and doesn't want anything is donating to a charity of their choice. And obviously this can be really personalized, like they can support whatever cause is close to their heart, and they can obviously know that that money that might have gone towards something they won't use will instead be used for someone who really, really needs it. A couple of alternatives is paying for a subscription service that they use. You could renew something that they already pay for themselves, but then wouldn't have to budget for in the new year, like Netflix, or if they use a music subscription, then buy that. Or, you know, you get the idea. Anything they're regularly paying for, you could offer to pay for instead. Alternatively, you could buy them something that they're not currently paying for themselves, but you think they really like based on their interest. So maybe annual movie passes to their local cinema, or a book club for books that you think they'd be interested in, or cooking classes, or something like that. Or here in the UK, we have national heritage sites that you can pay a subscription for and get access to if the person you're gifting for is a nature lover. I think the idea of gifting someone something that they get to enjoy throughout the year is really, really lovely. And the kind of last idea I have is very similar. It's gifting someone an experience. So this can be a one-off event like a concert. It can be learning a new hobby like giving them cooking classes. It can be something quite novelty as well and one-off that you do together, like a pottery class or a scrunchie workshop, or, you know, anything that suits their interest and would be fun to do together. And kind of building off that, it could be something that they've talked about wanting to do for a while, but maybe have been dragging their feet towards and you think would be the perfect thing to purchase for them. For example, I kind of thought about how so many people I've seen online recently are obsessed with fragrances now and finding their signature scent. And the idea of paying for someone to go make their own scent could be a really lovely gift and something that is, you know, once in a lifetime, completely unique that they might not think of to do themselves. For all of the suggestions I've given, I think it's a really good idea to keep in mind the question, am I buying this item to make the person I'm buying for feel good, or does it make me feel good to thrift this item? And my kind of thinking here is, on TikTok especially, I've seen people twist the narrative to be like, oh, this is what the cool girls are gifting people this year. Like, this is what this gift says about me. And I think that's a really slippery slope to buying something that people don't want just so that they can perceive you as knowing some really cool brands, or buying them something that no one else has bought them before. And again, just really hammering in the messaging that the best gifts are thoughtful, really attentive to what you know about the person and what you think will improve their life. So yeah, hopefully something in this video has helped you, whether you were stressing a little bit about how to do Christmas sustainably, whether you just want to gift ideas that feel a little bit more thoughtful and intentional for the people you love. I hope it's been helpful. Let me know if you have any gift ideas yourself that I've missed out. And yeah, happy December. If you're putting up your Christmas decorations, then I wish you luck. I'm putting mine up this weekend, which I'm really looking forward to, and baking some Christmas cookies and watching Christmas movies. So yeah, I hope you're having a similarly lovely festive weekend. Have a lovely day. Bye.